there at Toxic Popland, RK Stud with the crew. And whatever you do, don't be sour. Today's a new day, a new hope. The Force Awakens.
In Star Wars The Force Awakens, a new evil has emerged known as the First Order. They have built a new weapon that can destroy several planets at once. Knowing that Luke Skywalker can defeat them, they have hunted the galaxy for Luke, who has mysteriously disappeared. It's up to the Resistance to stop them.
But let's start with someone.
Who wants to start?
I think you ought to, Russ, because you were the hardest one to convert.
Fair enough. Okay, let me start out by saying, folks, you remember how you felt about the prequels when you saw them? That's how I felt about the Vintage Trilogy when I saw it, and I wasn't even 10 years old yet. So I liked Empire Strikes Back, but in general, I was not really impressed with Star Wars. In fact, I got some Star Wars toys one year for the holidays. I just threw them inside and played with my He-Man again. So that's just how into Star Wars I ever was. When it became popular in the 90s, I'm like, I don't get what is the big popularity of this. It's not even that good. Well, when Disney took over and J.J. Abrams was to helm it, I said, okay, I'm going to give this a chance. I saw the trailer. I really liked the trailer. I'm like, okay, come on. Make me a fan the way Lucas clearly did not have the ability to. It is safe to say, with this movie, I believe this is the way it should have been done from day one. I stand by that. I pretty much loved everything about the movie. I mean, like one or two minor things, but otherwise, I loved this movie. Anyone want to take it from here?
Let's just go down this line.
Let's just go around. I can't say any better than you, Russ. When I watched this movie, I mean, I'm a Star Wars fan. As you can see, I'm wearing the garb. My inner child came out instantly when I seen Han and Chewie and the Millennium Falcon. I was like, yes, it's the Millennium Falcon. I just couldn't help myself. This movie, I was hoping it was going to be great, and J.J. Abrams did a wonderful job. He hit every capacity you could think of in the Star Wars movie. I mean, you could tell he was a real fan of the series. He touched base with everything, and knowing that Disney owns it now, and you get a little paranoid maybe a little bit about things, but I was like that when they bought Marvel. I was like, man, they bought Marvel. It's gonna be terrible, but they've done a great job with those. So I was very open minded about this, and he did an excellent job with this. I mean, I was a Star Wars fan before. I mean, I loved the original trilogy more than the prequels, but I'm typical. That's most typical. I mean, I liked all 6 of the movies, but to me, this one was a great start for the next 3 movies, and this was fantastic.
Yeah, I have to agree with all you guys. It surprised me because remember when we did our Avengers review, I'm like, can't beat Avengers, and then I'm like, I have to say I'm wrong. I think Star Wars is probably my top movie this year. So, and it was just like you, Jay. I was like, I was really into the movie, and I liked it, but I really liked it as soon as I saw Han and Chewie for the first time. Like I said, you couldn't force me to frown at that point.
No pun intended. No pun intended, right?
It was impossible.
Smile just appeared on my movie. I mean, when I did the Avengers review, I said I was kind of smiling on the inside. In Star Wars, I was smiling on the inside and outside.
I had the same feeling.
And it was just so good. There's a few things I didn't like about it, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's really great about it is, when Robin was telling me when he saw it, he says they answer some questions, but they also bring up some questions. But they bring up questions in a good way because how long has it been? It's been a couple of weeks, and we've been talking about it since.
True.
I mean, that's what makes it. What makes it good, in my opinion, is because there's so many theories out there.
Oh yeah.
And you just keep thinking about it, and it inspires you and inspires your imagination. Like, who's this character about? What's this about? And that's what the original Star Wars did for you. When you see all the characters say in the scene with the cantina, you're like, who's that alien? What kind of race is that? What planet are they from?
Who shot first?
Who shot? So it just fuels your imagination. I think that's what's great about this movie.
I think when we went in, or after we saw it, and I said, I had questions before we saw it, or
Yep.
and then now I have more questions after I saw it, which is
that works too. I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah.
But I also, I was very skeptical, like we all were, even though it was Star Wars. I think my first confirmation of this could be good was when in Motor City we saw Jeremy Bulloch, and he said he was on the set, and he said Star Wars fans will like this.
Yeah.
And he was right. It started out slow the first time I saw it, but then, Han and Chewie, I'm like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second, and it just made me anticipate the second time, see it with you guys, and I was like, yeah, this is on my list. This is definitely
I saw
really
it
good.
3 times, so that's how much I loved it.
What about you, Tyler?
Well, I remember like the first time I've ever seen Star Wars. I remember I was at my mom's, and then like my brother had these bed sheets that were like Star Wars bed sheets, and I like remember going to my mom and saying, "What's Star Wars?" And I remember she said, "Oh, you got to see the movies. Have you ever seen them?" I'm like, "No." And then she like has the opens her movie chest. She has like the I don't know if it was the trilogy or maybe just the first one, but I remember I watched it with her and I loved it. I mean, I didn't really understand it, but I still loved the whole essence of the movie and everything, and I enjoyed it until the very end. And then I remember I saw Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi at school in music class. I don't know why it was music class, I don't remember, but anyways, I remember after I saw the trilogy, I didn't really like the prequels. I mean, they were okay, but I liked the other the original trilogy better. But after I saw Return of the Jedi, I just said I want to know what happens next. So we've been waiting so long, and I remember around 2011 I started getting impatient. I'm like, when are we going to get another Star Wars? Are we ever going to get another Star Wars? So it happened, and when I saw it, I loved it. I mean, my girlfriend and I, we even screamed and clapped at the end of it, and that's how good it was. I mean,
We were there, we know.
you weren't the only one.
So yeah, I really loved it. It was everything I think the other Star Wars movies could have been, like Russell said, but I mean, I love the Star Wars trilogy as a whole, but this one really blew my mind, and that's really all I have to say. If you haven't seen it, you have to see it. Just if you're a Star Wars fan from the beginning, see it. If you're not a fan, just see it. Russell wasn't a fan of Star Wars, and he saw it and he loved it, so there you go.
That says a lot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
It's hard to convert Russell.
That's right. I am not easy to please, folks. You know that from my other reviews.
Hey, Jay, what do you got to say?
First, I want to say this was a Star Wars movie. I know it was Star Wars, but this felt like a Star Wars movie going in and coming out. It was definitely a Star Wars. It felt like Star Wars because I recently watched all 6 movies, and I enjoy all 6 movies. I like the prequels no matter what people say, but this one definitely blew all of them away. I mean, I will still say the original trilogy, but this one was probably the best of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still doing very well, and I hope it continues to do well. We'll see how 8 and 9 come out in a few years from now. Well, actually, a year and a half for 8, so that's good. And
then count it down.
And
Yeah.
2.5 years,
Down
about
already?
3.5 years for episode 9.
Yeah.
So we really don't have a lot of time with this, but I really enjoyed it. It was a great movie. Like I said, there were a couple of things that were, that maybe didn't need in the movie, but man, seeing Chewie and Han and Leia, and then seeing the best that I think of seeing Mark Hamill at the end there, that scene just captured me like no tomorrow. Just seeing Mark Hamill standing there with Rey, her holding the lightsaber out, just the expressions on their face. That could have been the whole movie. That would have been epic by itself. That, like I said, it was a Star Wars movie from start to finish, and it was
Wait a minute,
amazing.
So you're saying that when Kylo Ren is having another one of his temper tantrums and the two stormtroopers just
Oh,
turn
that was
around?
Great.
What about that? Because I was one of the stormtroopers.
That was a good scene, but I was just talking about the scene at the end there. That was great.
You know,
This is a very powerful scene.
one thing I did want to mention, this is one of the reasons that I loved this movie so much. First of all, everyone here is saying it felt like a Star Wars movie. That's the thing. This is what I felt like a Star Wars movie always should have felt like. See, when I went in, it didn't feel like one to me because when I think of Star Wars, I would always think of this old, outdated-looking movie with really corny, hokey acting. I didn't get that in this movie. It was well written, it was well directed, and for the first time, I actually gave a damn about Han Solo, Chewbacca, Leia, and Luke. I never before cared about them. Seriously, I don't know, 6 characters in the majority of the movie so far, and up to now, I just said, you know, the problem I have with these characters is that, I'm somebody who likes it when you see there's potential in something, even if that potential never gets reached. The problem I always had was I always felt the movies were dragging that potential down because they were that poorly done. Like, everything that could be, it was used in such a way that just, I'm glad it worked for most people, but I was like, whatever. This movie, this is how, again, like I said, it should have been done from day one, and I'm not changing my tune on
And
that.
here's another thing. One character that Russell absolutely hated was C-3PO, and actually he was bearable in this movie for
Yes.
him. Anthony Daniels actually, did it this time around.
Was it because of the red arm?
The red arm. No, he wasn't.
It was because they told him to shut up half the time.
Yeah, he wasn't in the movie very much, so
They barely gave him lines. That's why he was bearable.
So he was bearable.
I said bearable, though. I didn't say great. I said bearable.
You didn't like it when he was telling Han about when they were going through the asteroid field? He successfully asteroid field. He's like,
Jason,
shut up.
shut up. And there were many characters in this movie as well. Now, first of all, take all the new characters. You got Rey, you got Finn. Honestly, I'll tell you, I'm sorry to say it this way. If George Lucas had been handling these characters, they would have been a mess, especially Kylo Ren. There was no way it could have been pulled off had J.J. Abrams not done it and been done well. But even though Finn acts a little hokey at times, it's the way it's executed. It's done well. I like Finn a lot. My favorite character so far, Poe Dameron. He's supposed to be, in my opinion, what Han Solo would have been if Lucas had directed it well back then, but in my opinion, never was able to live up to it. So far, and of course, there's that one character that was in that female with the gigantic glasses, which I was told, by the way,
Maz.
was actually a reference to Silverado and a character Helen Hunt played. I kept thinking of Stell Getty, and I'm apparently not the only one who thought that because I saw a meme about it on Facebook. But I liked her a lot. I want to see a figure of her. She was great. Just the whole thing. And now, there are some things that a lot of people brought up, but I'm going to leave that for the quote-unquote cons. I'll explain when we get to it.
Yeah, there was just a lot of questions, in the movie, like, how did Maz get the lightsaber?
And she said she'll leave that for another time.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough time to talk about it. And that's the curious story. I was thinking the same thing when she said that. How did she get it?
Toxic Pop has a new Facebook page. Like it to see pictures and keep informed about our upcoming events and videos. A link is in the description. Go to www.facebook.com/toxicpop1.